Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm in a little bit of a different set tonight. Actually, let me make sure you can hear me. Different mic, different set. And I'm getting Instagram set up. So come on in. If you are on Facebook or YouTube and you'd like me to see your comments, just go ahead and go to streamyard.com/Facebook and just authorize your so I can see your comments. So let's see here. It's not letting me go live on Instagram for some reason. So let's see if we can make this happen. Come on in and let me leave you with a picture. I'm going to leave you a picture of today's stone while I work on this. Where did it go? Leave that for you. Check out for a second. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're in. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Sorry for a couple of minutes delay there. I am in a new set today. So on yesterday's meditation, if any of you were with us yesterday, the ancestors came in during the meditation, and apparently they decided to blow the internet out because this morning I woke up with absolutely no internet, no TV, no phone, just completely off from the world. So my beautiful Seraphim soul sister, also known as the Hug Angel, Miss Stephanie Lodge, is allowing me to use her studio. I feel so just royal in here right now because it feels so wonderful to be in the chair, the Hug Angel chair. So it's going to be a wonderful night tonight. Plenty of intel coming through. I am so just elated to be here with you today. Today is there we go. Some differences going on there. So let me change your little banner here for you. So the streamyard.com for those on Facebook and YouTube. If you go to streamyard.com/Facebook, actually it's on Facebook, I think alone. You can allow StreamYard to send your comments to this page for me. I'm on StreamYard right now. So if you are on Facebook or YouTube, I cannot see the respond to the comments right now. So if you want to authorize that, go ahead. I would love to see any comments you've got on the live. So there's that for you. And my name, after all of this is done and said, my name is Lisa Sadowski. I am the founder of Life's Remission. And I'm a singer-songwriter and soul seeker. I'm a seeker of truth. And I'm here today because Spirit brought through these crystals and these messages to share with all of you. And we've already covered quite a few, just quite a few different aspects of this all. Today, we have a really, really wonderful stone. It's called Vanadinite. And I had shown a picture up there before. I actually had a gorgeous photo that I took at home, and I just didn't have time to upload it in the midst of all this chaos to get here and use Steph's studio. So I'm get to show you the live one, but I will include that on the Facebook page for you all to get a closer look at. But look at this gorgeous stone. Obviously with the deep color of red, I guess the light's kind of bright on it, but it's got a beautiful reddish, little bit of hint of orange in there. But this stone is really, really powerful. It's been one of my go-tos with response to getting things done, following things through. It's obviously been working with me on these 21 days because here I am on day 4 and I'm still going. So we've got a lot to come through for it. It's been speaking. It took me, I went out to the beach today and did some grounding. Spirit brought me to go out there and connect with the cetaceans and just kind of get into the midst of the mix of what these messages were. And there's a lot of intel coming through. I don't know if you all are feeling this, but we are at the precipice of the next evolution of our human consciousness. And therefore, there is quite a lot of wisdom coming through. And the reason that these crystals are coming forth in that manner is so that it can assist us as we go through this next transition. So I have already set the beautiful sacred space. Being in the beautiful environment of Stephanie as well assists with this gorgeous sanctuary that has been set. So come on in. Hey Cam, good to see you. Yay. The chat is huge. That's funny. Maybe I should make it a little bit smaller next time. I can't see the chat. I just see what it looks like on the screen. I just see the comments. So this is cool. I think that might be one of my first comments on there. So you're the first, Cam. That's awesome. So what we're going to do today, for those of you who are just joining for the first time, is I do a little bit of an intro, which I've kind of covered a little bit so far, maybe do a little bit of some housekeeping items, and then I'll go into some of the properties that I have noted. In the midst of today, I don't have that many notes. I'm very familiar with this stone, but I usually like to have a really good outline for you all. So Spirit wants to work directly today, so as such it will be. But I'll be going through some of the properties that we may be familiar with, things that you can cook up on your own. You can see this available to you as well. But I'm going to kind of hone in on some of the things that I know I've really resonated with. And then I'm going to take you through basically three elements that Spirit has asked for us to look deeper into each of these crystals. It truly has been a journey each of these days. And when we tap into this concept of going higher, deeper, and wider, this is what Spirit has guided me to come through with for every stone. So I'll go into that. I'll kind of talk about higher, deeper, and wider. And then whatever else Spirit kind of comes through. If the order is mixed up, understand that that's the way Spirit is dictating this. I have no idea what order this is going to be like today. I already got that today was a very much get in the flow of things day. So I'm running with it. And if you need to get in touch with me as well, here's some ways to get in touch with me. I usually leave that running at the bottom there. But basically, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, and I believe in YouTube as well, I do have in the bio, I have links for everything you need to get a hold of me. These pictures I am putting in the Facebook group, the 21 Days of Heartenings Facebook group. So you're more than welcome to join that group. share some of your stories, some of your experiences you might have had, and we'll talk about it then, and kind of get in contact with each other. And then also, was the other thing I wanted to cover. We've got the Facebook groups, and okay, so some of the housekeeping items. Oh, the order of things. So we'll do this at some point. We will have a meditation. So that'll typically, it closes us out. But again, going with spirit today, however it moves me. A couple of housekeeping items. Like I mentioned here, there's some ways to get in touch with me, and some ways to keep in contact and follow this journey a little bit more thoroughly. Also, I will be speaking and using some terms that may not fully resonate, or they just kind of go over the head and just not really making sense. Understand that the goal and intention behind these 21 days, the reason I am here right now, is because of the energetic emission that is coming through. And if you are open to receiving, you don't need to understand these terms. The realms that we're dealing with have no language. So if you are simply here and open to it, you will still be receiving the energetic output that's coming through, and the wisdom that is meant for you to tune into will definitely get to you. I do suggest that if you have any particular guides that you resonate with, avatars, whether it be the Christ consciousness, or there's a term that you use, God, universe, any of that, to ask it to step in and to be that mode of discernment for you as we go through this, and so that you can kind of allow yourself to embrace any and all this is meant for you, and also interpret it and what it means for you. So we're calling in, just by setting this purity of intention, all of the avatars have shown up. I have specifically been guided not to mention each of their names. Number one, there are so many. And number two, they have all agreed that right now, at least for these 21 days, and this process, this journey, that we are literally kind of putting the crystals at the forefront, whereas they typically have been mechanisms that have been used to communicate this wisdom in the past. Now we're in a position where they're kind of coming forward, and we're tapping into your capacity to connect directly with these crystals. So it's exciting times. I know that it may feel a little bit, many people are feeling out of sorts right now, but do know that you have immense resources. You have legions of angels and avatars at your side and ready to come to your call. And when we gather like this and we set this purity of intention, this pure intention, understand that they have no choice but to come and assist. So like I mentioned yesterday during the meditation, I typically have an activation that I've been doing through the heart that's been really powerful. But yesterday, the ancestors just wanted to come and connect directly with each of you. So if you were not here for the meditation yesterday, I would strongly suggest to go back and at least listen to the meditation part, because there's a beautiful opportunity for you to connect with your ancestors individually. And the feeling was that they're excited to connect with you, and they have some really powerful wisdom at a cellular level that is here for you. We were talking about a new type of healing. It's not even new. None of this is news, by the way. This is information that's always been available to us. But we are now in a point where we can embody this at a deeper level. And when we embody these things, the term embodiment, when that comes in, it allows us to raise the consciousness at a global, at a cosmic level. And really, it suits all of us to have that happen. So let's get started. So let's talk about the beautiful Vanadinite. It's a powerful stone. Here's for the Instagram peeps. You could see that. Look at that sparkle. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Talking loud and saying something. It's a group called Incognito that has a sound like a song about that. So look it up. Okay. This beautiful stone, I will preface that you notice I was touching it and holding it in my hand and excited to have it. know that I will be washing my hands after. Why? There are certain stones, these are containing really powerful minerals and things inside of them. This in particular can have some poisonous aspects to it. There are things like lead and things like that that we don't want to make elixirs out of this. Okay, we're talking about elixirs today. Let me just write that down to make sure I cover it, because I kind of want to get through a couple things here. So the elixirs. We want to make sure when we have a stone that has certain properties, things like malachite, that have certain properties that when it gets in water, we can get these poisons, these toxins on us. So when we talk about elixirs, you can actually create an elixir. Speaking of which, here is mine, my sacred elixir, called Sunamist. I don't know if you can see it. But it's a little frog. Wow, it's like super bright. But it's a little froggy. And anyway, this is a sacred elixir, alcohol-free. And these beauties actually have crystals inside of them. It's structured water, and it's made with a certain percentage of saline, of Himalayan salt, but a certain saline solution in order to actually cure the oils for a period of time. And so what's beautiful about this versus alcohol is, number one, it's alcohol free. So those of us who are kind of not able to respond, I had issues health-wise where I was responding poorly to alcohol in my system, and I was looking for something that would hold these essential oils and allow their vibration to still come through, yet wouldn't have alcohol in it. Because I found that it was also altering the scent. The alcohol didn't quite preserve the oils in the way that the Himalayan salt does. So these are beautiful salt solutions on my website, sonamist.com. I think I have, yes, I did do them. So smart. Sonamist.com. So if you want to know more about that, just go ahead and check that out. But each one has structured water. It's got the sacred geometry on it, which you didn't kind of see that. And then I actually tone into each of these bottles, both the water and the stones. So I'm sending the highest love and light in through each of these bottles. So very beautiful options for you. But elixirs, the way that these elixirs are created, as I mentioned, there are crystals in here. And the crystals that I use for this elixir are actually quartz crystals. And there are quite a few that are okay in water. Other crystals, however, are, first of all, not able to be in water, i.e. Raw selenite. Like this is a piece of selenite. You can kind of tell as you get familiar with stones which ones work in water and which ones don't. You can kind of see this as a little flaky, and that if water got to it, it might kind of not do so well. It's a raw selenite. So you wouldn't want to put something like this in an elixir. So the option for when you have something that doesn't work to be directly in water, you can still create these elixirs. Some people drink them. Some people, like I said, use it as a spray. But these elixirs, if you cannot put them in the water, you simply have a container of water in glass is typically a way to do it. And you can set the stone right next to the container of water. And if you leave it, for me, I like to do from 8 to 12 hours if I'm going to do something like this. If I want an elixir of a certain stone and I want that essence with me, you can leave the stone outside of the bottled water anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, depending on how long you want to actually integrate it with it. And then afterwards, you actually have this beautiful, you can drink the water, you can do whatever you want. But the elements of the stone that may be poisonous in any way, shape, or form are not going to come through at that point. So you're safe to use it, drink it, doing all that stuff. Hey, Steph! We got everybody up in here. We got a whole party going up in the Hug Angel realm. So we got them holding it down in the comment section. This is so cool. I love being able to see all these comments. So that's just a little tip. If you are really in love with a certain stone, if if all else fails and you just don't know if it's safe to use in water, most of these are easy to find and do a little bit of research on. If you look up the chemical makeup of each of these stones, you start seeing things like fluorite or lead or those kind of things that you wouldn't want in your body. Just be on the safe side, make yourself an elixir by keeping it on the outside. But for the most part, quartz crystals are pretty safe. Everything from rose quartz, smoky quartz, amethyst are safe to use directly in water. But better safe than sorry. It's so easy to do a sacred water elixir. Many people actually use shungite, which is powerful and protector. And so I actually leave shungite, big bags of shungite, right behind my water bottle, a big water dispenser, so that I'm always drinking empowered water. So just some tips and ideas for you there. Okay, so Vanadinite, this beautiful stone that I talk about. I'm just going to read a couple of things about it, and then I'll kind of talk about what I know about it. It is the fire element. If you couldn't already see in the coloration and the sparkle that it gives, it is all sorts of fire up in there. So definitely works with the fire energy. And it is excellent for those who have problems accepting their physicality. I spoke yesterday briefly about how difficult it is sometimes to have this experience, and when we are tuning into these higher vibrations and feeling the experience of a blissed out of body experience, sometimes it's really hard to want to ground. It's hard to want to come back into the body. And again, if I'm talking terms that don't make sense to you, understand that it's totally okay. But imagine a dream state, right? Where things are kind of a little bit hypothetical, or I shouldn't say hypothetical, but it's doesn't seem like it's in reality. We have the capacity to tune into realms, into different, many call them in different dimensions that we have the capacity to tune into. And when we do this in the higher dimensions, the higher vibrations, often we can lose our footing here and our groundedness here on earth. And many people who are experiencing a lot of pain, a lot of suffering in this lifetime, have experienced many traumas and tragedies and just don't want to continue. It's sometimes difficult for them to ground into this energy. So this beautiful stone, Vanadinite, actually assists with that and assists with tapping into this level of gratitude for being alive, for the miracle that we are, for being this beautiful miracle called a living human being. So that's one of the beautiful gifts of Vanadinite. It also can assist in conserving energy at the physical level. And the way that it does that is it makes sure that we're not kind of just spreading out the energy, just kind of scattering it, broadcasting out all over the place and having no focus. So Vanadinite actually assists in focusing in on a goal and complete all the way through to completion. And in doing so, it's also assisting in bringing in our energy and making sure that we're focusing it towards where we need to go. And wherever we're going, making sure that that's serving the highest and greatest good. So, but again, at the physical level, when we deal with these, typically when we deal with these red stones, or even some of the grounding ones, the black colors, the brown colors, some of these grounding stones, they are here to actually tap us into this body. And right now, this is uber important. I don't know why I was supposed to use that word, but it is uber important to tap into this body and feel what we need to feel to move forward. We are physically evolving. This species is physically evolving into a new iteration of what we call a human being. Whether that makes sense or not, it's okay. Just understand that at a DNA level, we are shifting. This is science. This is what happens. You just look at the examples of what humans were you know, 1,000 years ago, nothing like what we look like today. So this is continuing. We continue to evolve. And we are at a point right now where everything from all of the toxins that are in the air environmentally, the things even in our foods that are, you know, in the food that we're consuming, we're being forced to transmute a lot of energy, a lot of other lower density energies just to survive. This body is the miracle of transmutation, and we're not even aware of what it's doing. So when we can consciously tap into that awareness and understand that we are a transmutive energetic being, that we can do this, then we can kind of proceed with an ease and a grace. Then it kind of makes it a little bit easier for us to move forward. But when we're kind of just bouncing against walls and cells are changing and we don't know, you know, why it's happening, this is where it can be a lot more difficult for us. So when we ground into these red color stones, know that it's here to assist us and actually deliver ease and grace. Now, the other thing about these stones is that typically everybody wants the clear stones, the higher color on this, what we consider hierarchy, the purples and the blues for the throat and etc. And some of the oranges and even the yellows and the reds have not been worked with too much. So they're definitely coming through with some beautiful rewards for us when we allow the acknowledgement to come through that it is important for us to tune into these bodies, that we came here in human form with a specific purpose. And when we lose sight of that, when we start kind of tapping out of it, then we end up in a state of stagnancy, we end up in a state of confusion, and we have no direction. So this is where these really come in handy. Also, when it comes to meditation, this is a fantastic thing to help stop the mind chatter. This is a great stone for that. Again, because it's assisting us on focusing in what is meditation, but focusing on the now, focusing in the now moment, and only keeping our consciousness in that focused in that space. So it is excellent for meditation in that way. And on another side of things, just a little tidbit, it does actually curb overspending, which is interesting because this looks so fancy, right? You think it would be kind of a little bling, but it's actually, again, staying in the focus, staying in a proper direction to keep us focused. But for me personally, it's very powerful when I'm trying to get a project that either I'm a little lethargic about, or I just don't really know where to go with it. I know that I have something to do, but I don't know what to do with it. This 21 Days of Angels was actually a great example. I literally got that it came through that it was 21 Days of Angels. I did do 21 Days of Angels, but 21 Days of Crystals. When that came through, I got 21 Days of Crystals. I got that it needed to start on 12/12. And then I really didn't know what else to do. So I actually brought out the Vanadinite, tuned into it for about a day or so, and just allowed it to speak to me, or, you know, allowed whatever information was supposed to come through for me. So, and it assisted me in putting this together, giving me structure. You know, in the human body, we want some sort of structure, even though we are free sovereign beings in this dimension of duality. It is important to have some sort of direction. So it did assist me. I can vouch that it helps me. It's actually helped me numerous times for projects that I've wanted to complete. So, and at a physical level, it actually works. So even though if you're follow the teachings of the chakra systems are usually this color red is usually down in our lower region, to where we have a lot of as far as sexual engagement is concerned, there's a lot of energy that assists with all that, womb healing, sexual trauma healing, and stimulation of that as well. So yes, it does assist on that front. And so, but what it's actually doing is it's grounding us and using this strength to kind of catapult us into our next version of ourselves. And this is a physical thrust, if you will. It's a physical push to actually assist us to go into wherever it is that the direction we're using. That's how I've experienced it, as a physical thrust in a certain direction. And that's typically what these lower chakras will do for the most part, what they assist in doing. So, but ironically, even though it is in the lower chakras, it actually helps out with asthma, with congested lungs. So right now it's very important with the kind of the lung section being under attack with this virus that's going around right now. And it actually assists with the breathing cycle, and it assists with facilitating like circular breathing, this experience of moving the flow of air throughout our body. I'm experiencing some of that right now as I'm just talking about it. And so it also assists when you are feeling lethargic or tired. I wouldn't call it quite an energetic boost. It doesn't kind of hit you like a cup of coffee. It's just this beautiful upliftment to give you the energy to move forward. When we drink things like caffeine or something that would trigger our body into a quick state of energy, usually it's stealing, robbing from Paul and giving to Mary kind of a thing. And this is a holistic system we work with. And so when we put something into our bodies, when we are seeking to move past something we are physically experiencing, it's important to take a look at the whole, at the holistic, from a holistic approach. And so some things like coffee are actually stimulating a chemical mechanism in our brain. It's overstimulating our adrenals, overstimulating certain things. Yes, you can use caffeine in certain dosages and in a good way. However, it typically does extract energy from somewhere else in the body. And if you make a habit of doing that, that can be you can have health consequences because of it. So what's beautiful about what Vanadinite does is it takes into account kind of what's going holistically on with the body. And when we're asking to pull forth the energy, it doesn't just give you a high, it's actually tuning you into what it is that is extracting that energy from you, what it is that is draining to you, and getting into the root of the problem so that you can not only get that energy as sustainable version of energy, but also so that you are being educated as to how to transmute what it is that causes that lethargy to happen. Again, I think I mentioned a couple of days ago, I am all about sustainable change. Anything that I'm looking to implement in my life, I'm always asking, is this something I can create and make as a sustainable option, a sustainable lifestyle change? So this is what's beautiful about Vanadinite. It's not just going to give you that quick high. It's actually forcing you to go within and look at the root of the problem. And at that point, if it is kind of reallocating some energetic movement throughout the body, it's also taking into account and bringing an awareness to that which is the root cause of the issues. So it's a beautiful stone. I think that it also works with bladder issues as well. So if you've got any issues with the bladder, it's very well good in assisting with that. But it's not an easy stone to find in a high quality version, if you will. But most of the specialty stores, if they have more than your typical stones, will have some access to Vanadinite. But that said, and I did speak to this a couple days ago, know that these crystals are a representation and a mirror to that which exists within us already. They are the mirror reflection of the perfection that we are, that we have access to. And so when something like Vanadinite comes into our field, it is simply reminding us of this grounding aspect of ourselves and calling forward that action to be taken, calling forward this movement forward and this movement towards our end goal of whatever it is that brings us to the next and highest iteration of ourselves. So when we tap into these crystal queendoms, crystal kingdoms, whatever you choose to call them, understand that the wisdom that they have is simply a reflection of that which is within you. And they are not to be worshipped or idolized, or to convince you that this is going to fix your problem. They are simply here to heighten our awareness and be that bridge to the divine. The reason that many of the avatars that I deal with, like I said, the archangels, Christ consciousness, the reason that they're kind of not needing to be announced right now and just kind of pulling back and pushing the crystals forward is because these are some of the things that they have, the resources that they work through to communicate with us. And these are the things that have been around before human flesh was even existing. These crystals were created from beyond that time. So the wisdom that is imparted within them by these avatars, the wisdom that has been bestowed into them and is broadcast all throughout all of each of these different kingdoms, is really powerful. And it's with that same intention of sustainability, the same idea of making change so that this evolution can continue and that we can continue to evolve as well. So I think I covered all the goodies on here for as far as that was concerned. So let's go through the from the higher and deeper perspectives that we with regards to Vanadinite. So as I mentioned before, if you haven't been here before, the higher, so Spirit has asked us to go higher, deeper, and wider into each of these crystals. So the question that was suggested, and the reason that higher was, the word higher was initially put because it triggers something in our mind. It makes us associate a certain way of thinking when we consider the word higher and what is its meaning. But the crystals are actually here to say that there is no hierarchy. There is no crystal that is higher value than others. We are the ones that instilled the concept of value onto these. We put that program onto them. And in certain circumstances, it makes sense that certain crystals would cost more. That makes sense. But from an energetic standpoint, they're simply asking that we realize that from a higher perspective, by our definition, that means going to higher vibrations, higher frequencies. They're asking that we tune into the concept of release. What can be released so that more may be revealed, so that we can step into this higher aspect of ourselves, right? This concept of higher aspect of ourselves. So when it comes to Vanadinite, how is that relevant to this in this particular situation? And so we ask ourselves, well, how can Vanadinite assist us in doing that? When it's bringing us into this place of focus, and when we see clearly the direction that we need to go, all of a sudden, the things that are holding us back, all of a sudden, the things that are keeping us from getting to the next stage, all of a sudden, the things that are blocking, our vision opens up. This is not the color of a stone that would typically brighten up or open up your third eye. For those who understand what that terminology means, but it is actually doing it by grounding us and reminding us, bringing us into the point of where we need to go, and at the same time tapping in and saying, these are the things we need to let go of. The beauty about Vanadinite, though, is that when it comes to releasing something, when it comes to letting go, as we say, oftentimes there's a correlation that it's going to be painful, especially if it's something we're really attached to. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult to let it go. And what Vanadinite has to offer is this ease and grace through this transition forward. It's just this beautiful guide that walks us through our process of where we need to go, so that all of a sudden, these things that needed to fall away simply fall away, but without the conflict and resistance that typically we might have had programmed with us before. So this is how Vanadinite can assist us with releasing that which is holding us down and allowing us to move higher and into this verbiage that we understand as higher. So that's higher. And then deeper, they ask that we kind of tuned into the concept of rooted. So higher, we want to think about more what we can release so that we can get into these higher aspects of ourselves. The concept of deeper, they're asking, let's look at it from a rooted standpoint. And this is the epitome of rooting vibration. And when we think about the concept of rooted, when we want to look for what to do with that, the question is, what truth is calling for deeper embodiment? Again, these terms may not completely make sense, so I'll attempt to describe them a little bit. But yesterday was the stone of truth with a capital T. And I kind of went into a little bit about what truth really is, the truth of who we really are. And so when we ask to go root, when we root ourselves into this truth, when we tap into the sovereignty that we are, we see that we can see our true power, and we can see our mission, if you will. Everybody's always asking about what your purpose is. Your purpose is to be the fullest expression of the uniqueness that you are. You are an individualized expression of Spirit's creation. You are a divine manifestation of God, and you are here to express that in its fullest. And if you can tap into that truth when you're having a bad day, or you're feeling a little bit like ego is running the show, if we can tap into the rootedness of that, rooting into that truth, this is where true embodiment really happens. Because at that point, we're aligning ourselves with this, quote, higher vibration, with these higher experiences, and we're moving it into the body and allowing it to come through and rooting it into the earth. We, just by doing that, are assisting the global consciousness, assisting the planetary evolution, and making waves out into the cosmos in such a beautiful manner. When we ask that question, what truth is calling for deeper embodiment, we're able to see that which is calling forth our expansion, and we're able to respond to it. So Vanadinite is powerful for that, in that once we see that truth, once we ask this question of what it is that wants to be integrated a little bit more into our bodies, Vanadinite says, I got you. Now that you know what you want, I can help you with that. So that's how that helps out from a deeper perspective. And then lastly, but certainly not least, is the wider. So higher, deeper, and wider. And typically we think of a broader spectrum, right? So the word they gave for wider was actually inclusion. So it was almost like opening, the vision that I had was like opening of the arms and welcoming more of the better, the higher and more positive energy into our fields. And so we do that through the heart space. We do that through tapping into our heart space and allowing this love and joy to come through us. So the question that was brought forth was, when we're looking at trying to tap into the wider view of life, is what opening wants to occur in order to assist with my spiritual expansion and ascension. This is a little bit of a long one, but it's asking us to tap into and ask our guides, ask our higher selves, whatever it is that you resonate with, ask for guidance on this. Ask these questions, sit in meditation with these questions, and really ask for some guidance as to what these answers are, and how these crystals, or if not these, which crystals can assist you in doing so. So again, that question is, what opening wants to occur in order to assist my spiritual expansion and ascension? So meaning, what have we been excluding from our life? What have we kind of shoved out, or just suppressed, or just filed away in the hopes that we don't have to deal with it? Where is that? And once we find out what that is, there is an opening that needs to occur within us in order for that to be transmuted, in order for that repressed idea, or that pain, or that whatever it is, once we acknowledge it and see it, only then can we allow the opening to happen, so that we can actually get to the point of spiritual expansion and ascension. And I'm being guided to kind of talk about why spiritual expansion and ascension is important. This is something that many people are waking up to right now. It's not that spiritual expansion was something that nobody cared about. It just wasn't necessarily a priority in many circumstances. And typically because it was a little bit of it can feel overwhelming when we talk about really true, deep spiritual expansion, especially for those who are not familiar with this. So it seems like a daunting task. But what's happening is, because it's been just kind of shoved off to the side for so long, is it's surfacing with no ease and grace. It's just coming up to the surface because we have called this forth. I mentioned this, I think, on day one. We want a quick fix. We want to take a quick pill. We want some results now. And so Spirit's like, okay, I'll help you with that. It ain't going to be pretty, but I'll give you your quick fix. So, we've literally brought ourselves to where we are today. And what was happening is that we got these quick fixes, and Spirit's like pushing and pushing and pushing and kind of allowing us to go where we need to go, just as we have commanded, right? It is our free will to request these things. I want a quick fix. I want to get over this. I just want to move past this, right? Because I just want to get past this. And we don't understand sometimes is there is a process, because in these human bodies, we need to integrate these truths. We know this truth when we go out of the body, when we step into these higher vibrations, when we go into meditation. How many of you have had these magical aha moments, and then, but yet when we step back into our bodies, we're like, I don't know how to, I don't remember anything that just happened, and I don't know how to implement it. So all of that wisdom and knowledge, we can't actually integrate in the body, because we're not doing the work that needs to be done for these physical bodies to be able to hold all of that powerful information. The truth of who you are, the truth with a capital T of who you are, cannot be contained within the confines of this human brain. It is the potential and the miraculous nature of who we are exists outside, I shouldn't say outside of the body, but beyond this body form. And so when we are trying to move forward in this human body with this fully expansive existence that exists around us, and we have these little tap-ins to little awakening moments that show us a little highlight of it, and then we wake up from the dream going, what am I supposed to do with this? The reason we don't retain it is because we haven't integrated it. We haven't actually brought it into the body so that we can instill it and remember it. Just like working out, you try working out a little bit, and until you can learn, you can read all about the processes that needs to happen. You can understand what needs to happen in order to take Pilates. It's Pilates and yoga, apparently. In order to take a Pilates class, you could go watch it. But if you're not actually doing the movements in your body, you don't get the benefits from the actual gift of what these activities have to offer. The same applies with our spiritual expansion and ascension. You can read every verse of every Bible. You can sit in meditation as often as you like. But if you're not having practices to ground that information into your body, and then to go forth to actually ground it into the earth so that others can benefit from this amazing expansion that you're experiencing, then we create a stagnancy in our field, a stagnancy in the flow, and we that's where confusion comes in. So when we come to this concept of wider and more in a state of inclusivity, and we ask that question, what opening wants to occur in order to assist with my spiritual expansion and ascension? This is a powerful question. And this is something that is integral, and I can't even get these words out, is so important for us to instill, integrate, embody into our system. So take some time, if you can, with each of these questions, and as we go through each of these crystals. And like I said, tap into your guides, tap into those avatars that you feel that you resonate with, because that is something else that these crystals are here for, is to assist in that communication. Anyone who's communicated with anyone who passed on before, or who has a divine connection with God, with Yeshua, with any of the powerful avatars that are out there right now, are available for us to tap into. Anyone who has done that understands that the connection is real, number one, but that's all that is being requested of us, is to make that connection, is to show the desire to want to expand. That pure intention alone calls forth wisdom. It calls forth the powerful angelics to come forth and assist us to make that happen. So if we can focus on that intention and know that something like Vanadinite can move us forward, and all the crystals, I came across the county lines to come use Steph's computer here. But the Council of Light, as they choose to be called, wanted to come. So I don't think I've spoken about this before. You may have seen it on seen them behind me in my altar that I have. But this is a beautiful Lemurian sphere that has been holding council. I usually have it in the middle of a grid with some other Colombian Lemurian points that kind of emit its energy, but they didn't all need to come. They said that this beauty would suffice. It's got some gorgeous rainbows in it. So this has been with me every single day. Selenite, I always have my selenite cleanser and clearer, and I've got, actually all of these are quartz, but here's another beauty, just showing you the council that has been holding space while we are doing these transmissions. I have quite a few points, but these were the ones that wanted to be with us. And then this one, actually, oh, I know why now. Interesting. It just came to me. This one I got when I was in Argentina. And I want to say I had just begun my crystal journey. It's interesting. This is just coming through right now. Yeah, this was in Argentina. I have a deep connection to South America. That was a very transformational trip for me. It was magnificent. Both of these actually were from there. And this one I got in Brazil. I want to say this was my first point that I spent some money on. And out there was a lot less expensive than it would be here. But so interestingly, we have some South American representation here. That's very interesting. I didn't realize that. So you got some South American, and then some beautiful Lemurian council holding the light here for you all. So know that you are in a sacred space, a sacred sanctuary. So with that, I believe I will go ahead and go into a little bit of meditation. I was hoping that maybe I could put the picture of the I just saw your comment, Cap. Typically it should curb overspending on crystals, but in your situation, I'll just leave that alone. So Cam has actually got a beautiful, the Sage of Stones. You'll find him on Twitter. He's got beautiful stones online, and he really takes care to put a lot of these things into place to hold counsel for these crystals that he's getting out to the world. So he's doing some great work. So so maybe he would prefer that you're not using Vanadinite when you're shopping on his site, but we'll see how that goes. So anyway, all right. So let's kind of tap in right now. Take a deep breath. And call forth the highest aspect of yourself, the knowingness that is the perfection that you are. Calling forth only the highest love and light, for in this field, that is all that exists. Breathing in everything that is love, peace, and joy. And breathing out all that is not. And one more deep belly breath, breathing in all that is love, peace, and joy, and light. And breathing out all and anything that is less than that in all dimensions, all lifetimes. Recognizing the avatars that are stepping forward and embracing us in this beautiful field of protected love, cradling each of us as if we are in the womb, bringing us to our own individualized moment of creation, and going even further back, before time even existed, before existence even came to be. In this field, there is no color. There are no words. You simply are. We are. Feel in to the nothingness and everything that we are all at once. Free of any constrictions, any limitations. All that exists is expression. We may call it love in human form, but there isn't even a word for that in this space. Pure contentment with being in the oneness, the field of oneness. There is no separation. Hmm. Allowing that sensation to just move through us at a cellular level and feel the healing that is happening to the grounded aspect of ourselves. For we are still gently tethered to this human body. We are floating in freedom, yet still completely tethered to our human existence. Sovereign, yet unified. Our perspective is so wide, so expansive. We see every aspect of each other here. You are the star. You are the sun. You are the moon. You are all that is. And nothing is being asked of you right now, other than just to be. Knowing that you are completely safe, You are held. That you are so deeply loved. You have no needs. All is well. All is well. And just feel into that freedom. Feel into that love. Feel into whatever word may come to mind that brings you to this state of just pure bliss. Know that this is who you are. This is the truth of who you are. Feel into Gaia as she gently calls your name. In such deep appreciation for just being who you are. She holds you and welcomes you. And calls you back home. She waves the tether a little bit to remind you to come back. It's still loose. You can come at your own pace. But she wants you to know that she loves you and she is calling you gently back into the body. And assisting you in remembering this beautiful experience of bliss, reminding you that you have access to this sensation at any given moment, for it is you. She pulls once again and asks that you come back deeper. As you root back into your body, feeling your hands and feet, being grounded in this beautiful energy called Gaia. She goes by many names. Pachamama, planet Earth. All she knows is that she loves you. Allowing your feet and hands just kind of move a little bit. Opening your eyes if they were closed. Remember that we've had the experience of embodying that beautiful experience. And that we can do this at any time. Whenever you're ready, come on back. Remove your arms a little bit. I'm so grateful for all of you. So grateful for your beautiful intentions. Thank you for your yes to the universe, to care enough to tap into these truths. I'm just so grateful for you. I thank all the avatars that have been here holding sacred space. So grateful. And with that, I will bid you all good night. I will be here tomorrow for day 5, the number of transformation. So of day 5 of 21, we're just moving right along on this journey. I hope that this has served you. I hope that this is something that you would share with your friends and invite others to come. I wasn't given much notice to do much advertising about this, so definitely would be appreciative for any shares, likes, subscribes, all that good stuff. So thank you again, all of you. Such love, and all those even that perhaps didn't see this live but came back for the replay. Again, you are getting all of this beautiful energy whenever you come on here. That intention has already been set. So thank you all. Good night.